A review of post-Erica emergency operations as the National Emergency Operations Center is deactivated. Government partners with LIAT to boost tourist arrivals, and new regulations to govern the tourism sector to be taken to Parliament. I am Julian Morris with the Channel 5 News. The details coming up. Topping the news, the National Emergency Operations Center has been deactivated following an after-action review on Tropical Storm Erica. The after-action review meeting got feedback from the chair of various subcommittees of the National Emergency Planning Organization.
The NEOC, National Emergency Operations Center, was deactivated on Friday, September 25th, with an after-action review here at the Office of Disaster Management. Of course, taking into account the activities that preceded from August 27th, we operated out of the Financial Center 5th floor, and then went into a transitional period where we, downscaled a bit and kept the most critical subcommittees functional, particularly Shelter, Welfare, Food and Supply Subcommittee, of course issues of security, transportation, and information sharing.
Meantime, the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency has been working with the Office of Disaster Management to improve its relief supply management system. Joseph says people who have evacuated their homes and have moved to transitional housing will still be cared for.
The main subcommittees under NEPO responsible for the welfare, for shelter, of course, as well as food and general supplies, will continue to function. So what we have is the Secretariat, which is the ODM, will continue to coordinate from that point of view, and providing support to subcommittees as well as line ministries to ensure that we still cater for the activities going forward in terms of the full recovery process.
In more tourism news, government's tourism marketing arm has partnered with Caribbean airline LIAT in a bid to boost tourist arrivals for the last quarter of the year.
Discover Dominica Authority's newly launched Industry Partners promotion will offer discounted airfares from LIAT to hoteliers and travel agents wishing to travel to Dominica between October 1 and December 31, 2015. The special fares are for hoteliers and travel agents originating from Antigua, Barbados, Guadeloupe, St. Lucia, and St. Martin. The Anchorage Hotel Whale Watch and Dive Center, Citrus Creek Plantation, Fort Young Hotel, the Champs and Pegua Bay House will offer discounted hotel rooms as part of the promotion. According to a DDA press release, this is expected to increase visitor arrivals here from select Caribbean destinations.
Still in tourism, the Minister, Senator Robert Tong, looks forward to a new set of tourism regulations to be passed in Parliament when Parliament next meets. Tong says among his concerns are tour operators undercutting the price of tours. He believes legislation to discipline tourism service providers who bring the industry into disrepute is necessary.
One of the recommendations coming from the stakeholders is to ensure that the tourism regulations have proper teeth behind it. And that was one of the shortcomings of the previous legislation. So as soon as Parliament happens again, the regulations, the upgraded regulations will be passed to ensure that if somebody's doing something that they're not supposed to be doing, they can be brought in front of a disciplinary board. And if the person continues to do that, the person will lose their chance of making money.
Tong agrees that if the cruise lines can meet their quota of selling tours conducted by organized tour operators, they will feel encouraged to include the island on their route. To determine cruise passengers' experience at a destination, cruise lines distribute a satisfaction survey in which tourists give ratings on certain aspects of the destination.
20 years ago, when the cruise ship came here, they would sell all the tours. So therefore, they made the bulk of the money. Back then, the cost of a tour was $30 to go to the Emerald Pool. Not Emerald Pool, let's say Trafalgar Falls. However, today, you have persons who go beyond the barrier, and they are selling these same tours from $50 to maybe $7, right? So when the cruise ship got a significant portion of that business, right now you have the cruise ship maybe getting 30% of that business. Let's see, 40% goes to the combined taxi, that is 70%. And another 30% goes all the way outside at a much lower rate. Then every time the ship lands here, they try to get at least 10% of the persons who have come here to fill out the forms. So those who go back through the organized stores, we get a score of a satisfaction score of, let's say, 8 point something. But those who go outside the barrier, they get a score of 6.5.
And a proper vending space and more ships during the tourist off-season are among requests being made by craft vendors.
The cruise season runs from October to April, and Dominica expects 174 cruise calls during that time. At the end of the 2014 off-season, Dominica welcomed 3 cruise ships, bringing 404 passengers here, while in 2013, no cruise ships came to the island in the off-season. In 2012, however, 2 ships called with 369 passengers. Tourism service providers have usually lamented the absence of ships calling here for the off-season from May to September.
There is no ships at all. And I think a lot more can be done, that we can make more money in Dominica. Dominica is more or less sold as a destination for ecotourism, but not for shopping. So a lot of the vendors come, not expecting to see so much vendors with different items for sale.
Many of the craft vendors have been in the trade for over 5 years.
It's about over 10 years now since I'm doing this. For the past 6 months we're home, not doing anything. So seeing that again for the first day, I don't know for the others, maybe they're excited as well, but I am excited. And I'm wishing some more boats to come so that I can make more money to develop my business a little bigger.
Meantime, this vendor, who has been attending meetings for service providers hosted by tourism authorities, says he is in full support of the new measures proposed by Minister Robert Tong, but he says he would love to do business at a reliable vending facility.
I only vend on the Woodbridge Port, only Woodbridge Bay. So it's only when there is a ship at Woodbridge Port, I vend. I would like to see mostly all the ships dock here for the 2015-2016 season. But all shall eat, so we got to share it. Proper spacing facilities for the vendors would be an ideal, like when I mean proper spacing facilities, is like a space where you could know at the end of the day you could just lock up and go. A locker room, yes. So where you could, store your things for the entire season.
On to education now, where teachers are being called upon to stand united as they embark on a new academic year.
Member of Parliament for the Roseau South constituency called on teachers to stand united as they embark on a new academic year. He gave that piece of advice when he addressed the healing service of the Dominica Association of Teachers on Friday.
So I want to take this opportunity to urge each and every teacher here, each and every principal, to be strong, to be courageous, to stay under the wings of God, and to work with the spirit of unity, the spirit of strength. Teachers should be united, not only with fellow teachers, colleagues, but with the family, with the parents, and with the community by extension.
Teachers were cautioned that the new school term would bring new challenges as they now have to help students and fellow colleagues cope with the trauma of Tropical Storm Erica.
You are more than just being an instructor. You have the onus of inculcating values in our children. But that task has now expanded. You are now a psychologist because you have to deal with several students who are psychologically affected. Even some of your colleagues have been psychologically affected. And as such, your skills must expand. Your skill sets must improve.
Teachers were also encouraged to impart good social values on their students.
I urge you to make it a point of duty to inculcate in your students the importance of respect and the importance of tolerance. We must agree to disagree. And teachers, you have that responsibility to lead.
You're watching Channel 5 News. Coming up, who will compete and in what order in this year's Cadence Lipso competition? Thanks for staying with us. Over 200 Petite Savanne residents have received debit cards from the Dominica Red Cross through a cash transfer program. Here's more.
On Monday, the Red Cross began distributing these cards to head of households at their head office in Goodwill. These cards will be distributed over a period of 3 days.
The purpose of the debit card is to enable them to purchase any of their immediate needs. They can collect cash from the ATM or use it at a supermarket or any store that will accept a debit card. The cards are being issued in the value of $125 US, or the equivalent 333 EC dollars. Yes, each head of the household gets a debit card.
The project is a part of the Red Cross Relief Program. Chairperson of the Petit Savan Village Council, Edward Thomas, says the debit cards will be of considerable help to the Petit Savan residents.
This will go a long way into helping them especially to buy personal stuff, things they are not getting from the aid relief people. The majority of the people have decided on not going back because, I mean, the village on a whole looks scary. It looks scary with all these landslides all about, you know, and seeing what we have gone through. It's like nobody wants to go back to Petit Savan, especially when it rains. So I don't believe anybody will go there to live.
He says the people's livelihoods would have to be taken into consideration before they can be relocated.
And artists for the NCCU Kadas Lipso show know at what number they will perform. We have more on that.
The launching ceremony for this year's Kadas Lipso show was held at the Old Mill Cultural Center on Monday. 14 participants chosen from a field of 39 are slated to perform in an attempt to dethrone Anton Joseph of Grand Fort, who won last year's competition. The Kadas Lipso competition was created as a means of keeping Dominica's Kadas Lipso culture alive and vibrant, especially during the cultural season.
When we began in 2012, the Kadas Lipso show was designed to produce, among other things, 3 results. 1, rejuvenate the Kadas art form. Number 2, expose and cultivate Dominica's talent. And number 3, create an export product for Dominica. This third goal has not been accomplished yet, but there is a plan in place. We do hope that as the Kadas evolves, it will attract a wider audience.
The 15 performers are Jude Deloney, JD at number 1, Janet Azuz, the Angel, number 2, Bernard Jude, General Nati, number 3, Pierre Labassiere at number 4, Dexter Peltier, De Rose in 5th position, Steve Williams, Triumph in 6th position, Shirley Charles, Lady S at number 7, Alicia Ducre performing at number 8, Delma Daniel performing at number 9, Ramadin Philip, Kalfa P, number 10, Chris Sylvester, Chris B, number 11, Charles Leatham, stage name Classy at number 12, Cletus Abraham, known as Halibut, at number 13, Roye Anselm at number 14, and Anton Joseph White Ferry defending his crown and performing at number 15. A new section introduced to the competition last year has been expanded this year from 3 bands to 5 competing.
This segment was introduced into the show for the first time last year. This added a new dimension to the show and was well received by the patrons. As a result of the great response from the fans, that segment is back with more bands competing. The bands are as follows: Ecstasy, Lucas Band, Signal Band, Teokes Band, and of course, defending their crown, the first serenade from Paul Michel. During the performance, the band will play 2 original songs, a test piece from Gordon Henderson, and the rest of the performance will be a selection of Kadas music.
The Kadas Lipso show is scheduled for Saturday, 31st October at the Newtown Savannah. Winner of the show will receive $15,000 in cash and prizes. Andrea Louis, Channel 5 News.
Child Fund Caribbean continues to lobby for the rights and protection of children, but this time by providing recreational items for those affected by Tropical Storm Erika.
Program Manager of Child Fund Caribbean, Jelena Fontaine, says since several children lost homes and belongings due to the ravages of Erika, they are collecting toys and games and other items to help these children.
I myself was trapped for 5-6 days in Bagatelle, so I had a first-hand experience of what happened. I know it was very traumatic even for my son and for the other children there. But the staff was already, the national office, they sent us help, they sent food to, they went to different communities, gave food, water, hygiene products, health products, different things like that to the families.
Fontaine says from the second week after the storm, the roving caregivers were already at the evacuation shelters, engaging children in activities.
They could express through art and other ways what they had experienced and so on. So we've been doing a lot, and we intend to do more for the entire fiscal year. We want to bring in as much toys and art supplies and stuff for children. Sometimes in the immediate aftermath of an emergency, food and shelter and those things are the most critical. But to children, their toys and so on are like their food. That's like something they really need. When that little boy, as I told you, kept saying, "The river killed my toys," and he kept repeating it.
She says Child Fund has a list of all the things children would need or like.
Their snacks, play rugs, all these different things to comfort them. We send it out to friends on Facebook and through the organization, and we're hoping, we already have some people from overseas going to send a lot, so we're hoping we can get more support in that regard for people to send a lot more of those things, or send us the money so we can buy it here, because yesterday we bought from 2 stores more than 10 trolleys of toys and other things that we're going to place in some of the evacuation shelters and in some schools where they can set up a spot just for children to go play, lie down, read a book, you know, just have fun with each other.
And the Adventist Disaster and Relief Agency, ADRA, will be playing its part in assisting Dominicans affected by Tropical Storm Erica obtain new housing.
When Erica hit in August, it caused widespread damage across the country. Hundreds of houses were damaged and 2 communities in the southeast had to be evacuated for the safety of its residents. The Dominica Grammar School, Roseau Primary School, Grand Bay Youth Center and Grand Bay Community Center have been used as shelters for the displaced residents of Petit Savan, Dubic and Paradise Valley in Bath Estate. The ADRA coordinator on island says this relief agency will play its part in ensuring that displaced Dominicans have more suitable housing conditions.
We have plans afoot to build between 10 and 25 initial houses. We call them starter houses, 2 bedrooms and 3 bedroom houses that will be allocated. We have sent an appeal to our brothers and sisters around the world, and as much as they respond with their generosity, this will determine the number of houses, more than 25, that we would be able to build.
In September, Prime Minister Skerrit said the government of Dominica is looking to create a new housing settlement for residents of Petit Savan. This, however, had been described as a massive undertaking.
This is part of the ADRA's response here in Dominica. We are responding in 3 other areas: relief supplies, food and clothing, and that we have a distribution center in Goodwill where we package stuff that we have received from other churches like Guadeloupe, Martinique, the Adventist churches in Guadeloupe and Martinique. They have sent 2 shipments, and then we are taking the supply to the communities that have been affected.
Prevost says these 4 key areas form part of ADRA's mission to help those in need.
We are in the business of not only building houses, but also rebuilding lives. So whatever we have done in those 4 areas that I've mentioned, the relief supplies, the education assistance, the houses and the feeding, that is all part of our mission in helping individuals to know that God loves you.
You're watching Channel 5 News. Coming up, your sports highlights.
In sports, Eldin Baptist to replace Phil Simmons in the tour for Sri Lanka. The West Indies Cricket Board, WICB, has decided to appoint interim coach Eldin Baptist following the suspension of Phil Simmons. Simmons came under heavy scrutiny days prior for his outbursts on the non-selection of Dwayne Bravo and Kieran Pollard for the ODI squad. His actions were considered as a breach of confidentiality, and he will be given a fair trial by a panel. A decision will then be made within the confines of the HR policy of the WICB. In more cricket news, Pakistani off-spinner Bilal Asif has been reported for suspect bowling action. Following the third ODI against Zimbabwe in Harare, Bilal's bowling actions were called into question. A total of 8 deliveries raised red flags for the officials of the match. Asif's actions will have to get tested at an ICC accreditation facility within 2 weeks of the report being received, but he may be allowed to bowl in the international cricket until the results of the tests are out. This action may be a setback for Pakistan since Asif formed part of the ODI squad in Zimbabwe after his not being able to play in the previous T20 since he was supposed to be assessed prior to the series against England. And renowned tennis player and entertainer Novak Djokovic won his first round of the China Open on Tuesday, beating Simone Bolelli 6-1, 6-1. Djokovic boasts 25-0 win-lose record in China. His winnings became noticeable in 2009, where he won his first of 5 titles at the tournament, only dropping 3 out of 51 sets in the 5 games. That's all the time we have for sports. Join us next time.
Unstable conditions expected Wednesday due to a tropical wave. Your weather report is next.
Good evening, Dominica, and welcome to tonight's weather broadcast. I'm your presenter, Marshall Alexander. We begin by taking a look at earlier infrared satellite imagery and what it showed. This area of convection is associated with weak unstable conditions which affected mainly the southern portion of the island chain. And also to our east, this area of convection, which is associated with a westward moving tropical wave, expected to approach the region by tomorrow afternoon. Now taking a closer look, cloudiness and thunderstorm activity were observed mainly across the southern portion of the region. Earlier radar imagery indicated scattered showers mainly across the southern portion of the island chain. Tonight's weather is expected to be fair to partly cloudy with a few brief scattered showers, and tomorrow's weather is expected to be increasingly cloudy with scattered showers and possible isolated thunderstorms by afternoon. Sea conditions are expected to be moderate in open water with waves peaking near 7 feet. Small craft operators and sea beavers, you're advised to exercise some caution. The 48-hour projection puts the axis of the tropical wave just over the Leeward Islands by late Thursday. Conditions for the next 3 days: increasingly cloudy with scattered showers and possible isolated thunderstorms expected by late Wednesday and continuing into Thursday and Friday. Persons in areas prone to flooding, landslides and falling rocks, you're advised to exercise extreme caution. Looking at the bigger picture, increasingly cloudy skies with scattered showers expected across the northern portion of the region, with some thunderstorm activity expected across the southern portion of the island chain. Our international cities forecast: partly cloudy skies can be expected in New York and Caracas, some thunderstorm activity expected in Miami, overcast skies expected in London, and clear skies expected in Beijing. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 5:56 a.m. and sunset will be at 5:51 p.m. Please remember that we are in the hurricane season. For more information, you can call the weather hotline at 447-5555 or visit the website at weather.gov.dm. Thanks for viewing. Have a good night.
That's news. The headlines again. A review of post-Erica emergency operations as the National Emergency Operations Center is deactivated. Government partners with LIAT to boost tourist arrivals, and new regulations to govern the tourism sector to be taken to Parliament. A reminder, you can watch the news on YouTube. Feel free also to contact us at news@marpin2k4.com. On behalf of the production team, I am Julian Morris. Thanks for watching. Join us tomorrow.